Okay, so the instructions first of all get you to put the pocket together. I can't lift this one up too much because I haven't actually ironed on the birds. Maybe I could do it like that, that would probably be better. So I've obviously used my kind of makeshift fusible webbing. Hopefully that's going to actually hold. So I know that I want these into this place. Now I just wanted to bring in the felt pieces. I wanted to use felt for the beak and also for the wings because I wanted to add more texture. And just as you can see, all I did was I traced around the applique templates using tracing paper and then pinned that together and cut round it. So before I go ahead and position them onto the next bird, I obviously want to put these into place. So I think that's pretty much the area that I want them to be. You can always refer back to the magazine for a guide anyway. And then I'm just going to press the iron over the top. When you're using Wonder Web, and I'm presuming that fusible webbing is the same thing, you want to press down instead of actually having your ironing motion. I'm just going to move the felt out of the way and do exactly the same on the other one that we've got here. Now obviously we're going to be stitching around this anyway, so I'm not too worried if it doesn't really stick, but it has. How cool is that? I'm really quite impressed with that, especially as like I said, I've just tried logically working out what the fusible webbing was, and I kind of thought that maybe that was it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to position the beaks and I'm going to stitch around the outside, and then the next thing that I need to do is I need to cut a piece of pellon to the same size as my pocket. So when I get to that stage I will come back to you. So as you can see, I've now finished the birds and I've also back stitched in the wording Country Friends, which I'm really pleased with because that's the first time I've ever done back stitching, so it came out really well. I just lightly traced over the words and then just followed it, so that was really easy. But before I iron on the pellon, which I've actually cut to size, I just wanted to show you the back because this is quite a fairly transparent fabric really. I wanted to make sure that I haven't got very many trailing threads, because obviously once this is together and it comes through, you'd be seeing the trailing thread from the front side, which could obviously ruin the project. So I just wanted to show you that before I make that the next step. Now I'm presuming that the rough side of the pellon is where it kind of sticks together. So I'm going to put that onto the wrong side of my little section here. But then before I iron, because I don't know whether you can actually iron onto that in itself, I'm just going to pop the backing, which is the same fabric that I've used for the front. And now I'm just going to heat this. Again, I'm presuming it's a similar type of thing to the Wonder Web, so I'm not actually ironing in the way that we would traditionally iron, I'm just pressing it down. Once I've finished this is going to be popped to one side so I can start making the bag, and then this pocket is then going to be back stitched on to the bag in itself. Okay, so I'm ready to sew. I've already gone ahead and I've put the 1/4 inch foot back on because that's going to give me the perfect seam. Put it onto a running stitch, and I'm using a cream thread. So just making sure that I back stitch as well. Then I can go all the way across. Just going to move that over a little bit more. And then I'm going to back stitch again. And like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this on 3 of the sides, and then on the 4th side I'm going to be leaving a gap so I can turn it the right way round. So there we have it. As you can see, I've got my little gap because I've turned it the right way round. So all I need to do now is do a slip stitch and sew that together, and then the pocket is ready to put onto the bag once we've started doing that. And obviously we're then going to blanket stitch all the way around. So fantastic, I'm going to do the slip stitching and then I'm going to start on the actual bag itself. So I wanted to show you that I've sewn all the strips together. So there's 7 strips going across, and I've also pressed all the seams in the same direction. So now I can go ahead and cut out the main sections for the bag. I cut out the strips that I'd sewn together just now, and I've now sewn on the top and the bottom pieces. So all I need to do now is go and press the seams inwards on both pieces that I've just sewn, and then we can move on to the next stage. So I have to say that the machine sewing section of this is a doddle. It's really easy, very, very quick. So yeah, the bag's really coming together now. Okay, so I'm coming to sew the inside pocket. So I've already folded over and stitched all the way around, but now it's coming to do this onto the lining. So what I want to do is I want to use a zigzag stitch for this. So I've gone ahead and I've changed my foot, and I've set the width to 2, and I've also set the length to 2, and I'm just going to set the stitch to number 2 as well, making sure that I position it properly. And you'll notice that I've actually pinned this into place as well, so I'm just going to move out the pins slightly. And then you can move them out as you go along. Comes to going around, if you just make sure that you pop your needle in, lift up the presser foot, and then you can turn it around. I just want to go into the corner a little bit as well. These ones I'm actually going to hand stitch, so I'm just moving it around myself, so then I can make sure that I've positioned it perfectly before I move it around again. So I'm going to go ahead and finish stitching this up. So the first task to do while putting this together is to stitch on the front pocket, and to do that I'm actually going to be using the blanket stitch and making sure that I go right the way through, including into the pellon itself, because we're going to be putting a backing onto this anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm just about to stitch the lining, and what I need to do is I need to make sure that I leave the top completely, and I stitch round the sides and the bottom, but down the bottom I need to leave about a 5-inch gap so then we can turn it the right way round. So I'm just lining this up, again doing my 1/4-inch seam, back stitching to begin with. Just making sure that I keep it lined up. And now just move a little bit more forward, and now I'm going to leave the needle in, and I can turn the fabric around. Just need to go forward a little bit more. One more, and that's perfect. And obviously I'm going to remember to make sure that I keep the 5-inch gap on this side, and then I'm going to sew around the other side.